streaming live. You're listening to allflavasradio.com.
We have only the best DJs from around the world. All Flavas Radio.
I wish I didn't take life so seriously. I wish I didn't take life so seriously.
The sounds of Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars there. And how are you all doing out there in all Flavas land? I am Wimbo77.
And I am Decarlo.
We were expecting to hear naturally Lily's voice there, but sadly she's not well. I think that Lily needs to take a long break. What do you think, Decarlo? Like from work, from life, and just sit on a beach for a few hours or a few days or weeks?
That's not really a break, is it?
What's that, sitting on a beach?
Well, a couple of hours, you said.
But then
a couple of
weeks or a couple of even a month or so. Because even though we were on lock last year, we didn't really get much time out, if you know what I mean, like being able to get out or to travel, so on and so forth. I know you had the opportunity to.
Well, it wasn't so much opportunity. I didn't travel and go on holiday. It was just a matter of I had to go where I had to go. I haven't been on holiday yet.
Okay, yeah. So it's a nice break.
Yeah, it's going where I was going was a break from the norm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what everybody needs to do. Everybody needs a break from the norm.
Every so often. So naturally, Lily, we do wish you well and hope that you do log on and still sort of interact with us in the chat, as well as you can give us a shout later too when we open up the lines for questions. Now, the questions that we are asking today, the first one is, should women be paid the same as men? I know we have spoken on this subject, but this is in line with our work, with our National Day. So that's why we've posed that question, as well as if you ask someone to be a life partner after a reasonable amount of time and they say no, should you continue in the relationship? It's quite a deep question, that one, isn't it, Decarlo?
Very.
So we'll look a little bit at that and see how we get on. We've had some really great interaction in Facebook, so hollowing out the Facebook crew, as well as the chat room crew, the tune-in crew, the worldwide crew, and all you silent listeners out there. So those are our questions for today. And we really want to also apologise for last week because we were running a competition.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And sadly, no one called in as regards to that. So we'll see if we can fit something in today. But that T-shirt is definitely still up for grabs. It's a beautiful black and gold, all flavours, exclusive T-shirt. Okay, so in line with that question, that first question, Decarlo, about should women be paid the same as men, what is our National Day today?
What is our National Day today? It's should black women be paid the same as men?
Oh, it's the National Black Women's Equal Pay Day.
Equal Pay Day, that's correct.
So this is for August the 3rd, 2021. And I thought it quite an interesting National Day because I know we have covered the gender pay gap. We've spoken about that on the show before. However, it was quite interesting to note that there was a National Day for black women and equal pay, because the article highlights international racism is a thing and combating it is a large part of the reason for observing black women's equal pay day, marked on the current year calendar as the day black women caught up to the earnings of non-Hispanic white males after the end of the previous year. So in 2020, 226 days passed before African and black American women had reached the point, without regard to job type or required education, on National Black Women's Equal Pay Day, let your voice join the courageous activists rallying to influence leaders to disseminate crucial knowledge and make pay equality a reality. So I think the last time we did speak on this, it was in line with one of the actresses. It was what's the name of that show? It's a show with all the kids, they dance and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember the name of the show, but...
A talent show.
It's not a talent show, it's an actual show.
What, Ellen DeGeneres or something like that?
No, like, you know, like there used to be Fame.
Right, yeah.
It's something like that. And the white actress was paid considerably more than the black actress. In fact, I think it was double the amount that she was getting. So this is possibly the reason why they've brought this into play, this National Black Women's Equal Pay Day. I mean, how do you feel about equal pay for males and females anyway? What's your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, to be honest, it shouldn't be a gender gap, you know. It's personally, you know, it's who can actually fit the job.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of what race, nationality or gender you are.
Yeah.
It's about fulfilling the job, and the job pays this amount. Not, it pays this amount because you are this or because you are that. That's not right. Experience, okay, and that's it. Experience is gonna decide how much you get paid for the job.
That's in a very ideal world, though, when we think about it, because...
But we're not in an ideal world.
That's very true, too.
We haven't been in an ideal world for... Well, we're still not. So I can't even say we haven't been. We just are not in an ideal world.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but when you think about it, all right, so women and men, for instance. So women get paid, like you said, dependent on the skills and so forth, that they get paid according to that. And men likewise. But what if they were two managers in a job and that disparity was still there? The male was still getting paid more than the woman, and that does actually happen.
That's down to the director of the company.
Right. Because
it's down to whoever runs the business, who's ever in charge, the CEO, okay, the board table, are the ones that make that decision. So it's not, you can't even go stream down to management. It's down to, if that's my business, if that's my company that I'm running. So if I run a multi-billion, £1 billion a year income company, you know, how I pay people is down to me. Yeah.
Yeah, but that disparity does still
of course it
stand
does.
there, because even in the government's papers, they've got statistics when it comes to gender and pay, and I mean they've gotten better because it's gone down. It was at 17.5, I think, was the pay gap disparity, whereas now it's about 15%, and that's for between males and females. So we can still see that it's there, and it is apparent that there is a difference to the amount that people get, an imbalance that where people get paid differently. So I think it's quite a good idea to see that there is a National Black Women's Equal Pay Day, and they're saying that they're going to the government to disseminate the crucial knowledge and make pay equality a reality. But like you just said, this is the real world, and sadly, will we see that? But it is a national day, and it says there back in 1996, an organisation called the National Committee on Pay Equality declared the observation of Equal Pay Day. So the coalition of labour, unions, professional associations, civil rights organisations and individuals have been fighting ever since to open people's eyes to the realities of implicit discrimination in the workplace and around the paycheck. So not the fact that women are getting paid less than their male counterparts, but black women are getting paid even less than we noted their Hispanic and white counterparts. So they're saying it's a discriminatory. So it's not a fact of the two women, just two women, be it black or white woman, are getting paid the same, but the black woman is getting paid quite a lot less than her counterparts as well, her white female counterpart. So hence this was why this date was born back in 1996. Yeah.
Well, the more it gets exposed, the more changes we'll get.
Yeah. Very true.
the more.
Very true.
And it is down to the contract as well.
But like, as it says, it is National Black Women's Equal Pay Day. And it says on average, black women typically make 62 cents per every dollar paid to white non-Hispanic men. That's a lot less, isn't it? 62 cents for every dollar.
38.
That's not
Shy
a lot.
of. It adds up.
Yeah. So it says it impacts the wage gap. It impacts black mothers making just 50 cents to every dollar. And
But that,
white
to a certain extent
father
as well,
makes.
that boils down to the type of job that you go for as well. I mean, I'm not saying, look, as I stated earlier, everybody should be paid equally on the job that you're doing. So if it's, receptionist, this is what the receptionist pays, whether black or white.
Yeah.
Okay? But there are going to be other jobs where people get paid a lot less.
And that's very understandable. That is understandable. But say if there was your two receptionists,
Yes.
like it says, and your white female, black female, or black male, you're going to be, or white male, should I say, paid a lot less than your counterpart, be it male, female, white, black. The black person is going to be in a worse position than their female or male counterpart. And that's the point. I think that's the reason why they started this day up, because it's unfair, because surely they'll be doing the same amount of work. Yeah? So why not? Why should they not be paid the same? Isn't it?
So, but that conversation can can spread out into so many different areas. As in, like, for instance, equal means equal. How much unequalness is there between the male and the female?
We know there's a lot, though, Decarlo, isn't there?
Exactly.
So no matter what way we want to look at it, Matthew C. Deva on Facebook says it depends, just like what you said, it depends on the job. If she can work to do the work, then she should be paid. But there should be no compensation without the level of proficiency and efficiency being met. That's exactly what you said, isn't it? So he's in agreement that it should be the same. And likewise with Lorraine Rogers, she says if the hours and work are the same, then then people should get paid the same. But even going on the .gov website and looking at the gender pay gap, we can still see that that's not what's happening. And even more so, I mean, that article, it is an American, it's the National Day is an American National Day, and they're the ones that have chosen to observe it, but it's still a problem, and it's called discriminatory pay. So they're being discriminated against because of who they are and not being paid really what they're worth. How would you feel you're not being paid what you're worth, and knowing that the person sitting next to you, if it's one of your counterparts, is being paid considerably more than what you're getting?
Well, that's something that you'll have to challenge.
But if you challenge it, you might lose your job.
Well, there's the tribunal. There's different ways of going through certain things nowadays. Like you said, whereas lose your job, people can't just fire you now. Of today, it always has to go through disciplinary, has to go through certain levels. So it's not as simple as getting rid of you nowadays. It's a lot harder. So people have a lot of levy when it comes to the job. Yeah. So it's either you start challenging it or you don't challenge it. You accept it or you don't.
So who's going to be the first one to take the step? Hence the National Pay Day, which is great that they've started something so that people can look into it. But how far along have we come kind of since then? And Ree Chanel Taylor says in the chat room, I don't see why women don't get paid the same as men, because if we are doing the same exact job, then it doesn't really make sense. It's not like women don't have responsibilities too.
I totally agree.
I don't know what SMH means. Do you know what SMH means?
No.
Please elaborate on that.
That's the millennium language.
And Pele also highlights, I totally agree with Chanel, equal job, equal pay. And it's very, very true, because...
It's not even a conversation. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be having this discussion. It should be, okay, this is how people are. I mean, we both plough the field and we both get the same amount of money. But it doesn't...
Listen, honey.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work.
Honey, they ploughed the field for years and had to do it for free. And when they stopped ploughing the fields... people was all up in uproar, calling them lazy and whatnot, when they'd done it for free for so long. And do they expect the same freeness? Is that the mentality? Is that what it is?
That is the same mentality.
Yeah.
Because it's them same masters that are running the major industries.
Yeah.
And their predecessors or their younger generation are following the same as their ancestors. So, yes. It does start from, you have to kind of step back. If you want to change that, the difference, not just gender, because I hear gender a lot, and, you know, I understand what it is that day. Yeah, what kind of day it is. Yeah,
National Day, yeah.
Equal Pay Day.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not just that. It's a lot of things. And you can't just focus on, okay, why are you focused on the money? Because there's something that has to be before the money for it to change.
Yeah, and what's really great about this National Women's Day's Equal Pay Day frequently asked questions is, what was the pay gap in 2020? Who signed the Equal Pay Act of 1963, and what happens when the Equal Pay Act is violated? So there are acts out there, because there's an Equal Pay Act, and that was done in 1963. But what happens when they violate it? Because again, remember last week we spoke on modern day slavery, and there was a woman. They had her as a slave. She came over normal. But then her visa ran out, but they kept her in the house and had her working like a slave for nothing. How we are humans, how do we get away with things like that? But these things are going on a regular basis. So those are three questions there. Maybe. And
it's the rich that are in control of that.
Yeah.
It's not poor man that's going to be doing that stuff.
I think in that instance it was just some people from her fellow country that done that to her.
Yeah, but they will make it. They had to have money, because they would have had to feed her. They wouldn't have let her starve.
They were.
If she was starving, no, she was fed. She might not have been fed as much as the other people that had held her, but they had money. They have to have money, because you still have to. You still have to provide to keep this person going. It's very sad.
Shocked about the situation. So, how to observe Black Women's Equal Pay Day? It says, one, join Twitter storm. So, like it or not, a lot of activism goes a long way via the socials. You said that, didn't you, Dee? That we have to speak up and do something about it. And so the Twitter storm, join the Twitter storm. It says, throw in your 2 cents by tweeting the text in the BWEPD toolkit. So what's BWEPD? Is that on, Black Women's Equal Pay Day? So if you tweet that, text given BWEPD toolkit. And this was for 2020. Likewise, I think we can do that today, because it is August the 3rd, isn't it?
Yes.
So it is the day that it is observed. And say, I'm committed to ending gender and race-based pay gaps, and I will keep fighting for policies that end the discrimination in the workplace. # Women's Equal Pay Day, Black Women's Equal Pay Day, # Black Women in Tech. So that's really good, isn't it? That you can tweet about it. What's another way that we can fight? I'm going to put that in the chat box there. What we can tweet. But what about what's the next thing we can do?
Hire or promote. Promotion of women of colour.
Yeah.
So promote a woman of colour or hire a woman of colour. But that is happening. It just sounds like maybe this is in America. Over here, like I said, I must admit, there's a lot of things. I mean, going to the places that I go to, talking to the people that I talk to, there is a difference in countries. Do you understand? There's a massive difference in countries. So this is, like you said, this black American women.
The thing is here, it is happening here, Dee, because there are lots of articles.
It's not happening,
there are a lot of articles that do highlight, one, it's harder for black men.
It's not as, of course it is.
To get into work, and likewise the gender pay gap when it comes to women. I think that's what we did speak on a while ago, that it does exist. So although you're saying it might be US based, it's something that's very much happening here. I think a lot of black women are starting their own businesses to get around that, because they'll see CEOs of their own company, hence they're in a bit more control. But you are right, it's a bit easier for black women to be employed, but then once they're in the workplace and the way they're treated as well, there's a lot behind it. So that is good to say, hire or promote a woman of colour, more promotion. So if we know black women that have businesses or black women that are good at things and we're in work, mention their names to the boss or mention their businesses, so that they can, again, elevate. So mentioning t.volution.co.uk, great black t-shirt company, check them out. So number 3, have a frank discussion. So it says if you're a white person, really go out of your way to talk to a friend, co-worker or acquaintance of colour and vice versa. Don't let the topic of race act as a war between you and others. So discussing or speaking to each other at work is a great way.
Just to discuss, your differences.
Yeah.
The similarities and common experiences.
Yeah. So 5 facts about the Paycheck Fairness Act. Legal recourse is number 1. It says the Paycheck Fairness Act gives employees a right to sue employers for punitive damages for wage discrimination. So you can, like you said earlier, that there are laws and things in place that if you are mistreated, then you can... You
can't, like the tribunal.
Yeah. So there is the Paycheck Fairness Act, and a true upgrade. It says unlike the Equal Pay Act of 1963, the Paycheck Fairness Act puts the onus of proof on the employer. So the employer has to prove what's being paid when it comes to deciding whether discrimination has taken place. So if there is a disparity in people's wages, then the employer has to give a reason why there's that disparity. And then keep them coming. The Paycheck Fairness Act was introduced in Congress in 1997. So it's been around for a while. But like we said, it is stateside.
Yeah, but you say it's stateside, but it's not just stateside. Over here, things get done really slowly. And
I'm sure let me see if they have a Paycheck Fairness Act in the UK, because there must be. As it says, know the game, taking things to Congress here, they're talking about it only lines the pockets of lawyers. But like it said up there about Twitter, by tweeting these things and letting people know what's going on.
Forming groups.
Yeah, forming groups. You were saying something about forming a group recently.
That was about parking and the disgusting changes to the London roads. It's disgusting. That's why I want to kind of band together with as many drivers. Yeah. Look, I understand there's cyclists and there's a share. We need to share with everybody. But the way that the roads are of today in London, and London being so small as it is, you can't be charging people congestion charge when you're the one that's causing the congestion. It's a bit of a scam. And the thing about the British public, they do not stand up. In Germany, if they don't like something and they band together, they go against the government. Over here, they've only done it once. Do you remember when they did that?
When they rallied against the government?
Yeah.
No.
Petrol. You remember when the petrol went over a pound?
When it was a pound?
When it went up to nearly a pound, and the country shut down. I was driving the buses at the time. That was 19.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember.
98, and you couldn't, and they blocked off all the stations because of the amount of money that was they were charging for petrol, and the tradespeople, the unions tried to. I mean, they kind of got it down to a certain amount. Look at the price of it now. It's nearly 50 pence. In some places, it's nearly £1.50. So
isn't it 1.37 for
one? Yeah,
a gallon?
some places, yeah. So, like for instance, that's the thing about here. They had the poll tax. Same again. You had your
we call them
Black Lives Matter. You have all of these little movements. They have a little burst, and then boom! All of a sudden now, everybody just goes and climbs in their shell.
Something else. There's something else.
You know.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem. I think we need to. A lot more bodies need to be getting together, and just the government, but it's not just the government. The government's throwing it out there, and then you've got the mayor, and the mayor is causing boroughs, boroughs to like literally penalise everybody.
Well, we're fighting for a lot of things, but are we fighting for a lot of things?
Exactly.
We know in this last year, there's been so much underhanded things that have been going on.
Changes.
Are we aware? Like you said, you're just talking about the roads, where they've just mucked up the whole system. It was working all right before. So, but what else have they changed?
5G as well.
What else have they changed?
And there's a lot of other things. Yeah.
So we'll be CR in 5. We'll be back right after this short break. Oh yeah, sounds of Tammy Terrell and Marvin Gaye. You're all I need to get by. And Motown. Nothing like Motown, eh, Decarlo?
Nothing like Motown.
Yes, yeah.
That's where all the great singers were from.
Absolutely. So what's our in history? So we're looking at our history now, because we were doing a day in history. And I found that a lot of the historical figures that we look at come from the United States of America. Mm-hmm. So looking at a day in history, but looking at our history in the UK and how many amazing people that have come out of the UK, our ancestors from there. So I've come across this lady called Margaret Busby, and she's actually extremely influential when it comes to the world of publishing. That's because she was Britain's youngest and first black female book publisher when she co-founded the publishing company Allison and Busby in 1967, alongside a man called Clive Allison. I think that's quite amazing, because the 60s was like when the Windrush generation came in, as well as there was an influx, a migration going on at that time. Although there were black people in the country prior to that, a whole Windrush influx. So for her to set up this publishing company in 67, I think that's quite an amazing feat. Her name is Margaret Busby. So she was born in 1944, and she's still alive today. And she said the company didn't only publish work by black writers, but it did help to make the names of many black writers more well known. So talking about writing today, Margaret says technology permits you to be your own publisher and editor, which should encourage a lot of us, especially young people, to write and express themselves. Write because you really enjoy it, and learn to be a good reader, because the best writers read vicariously. Get to know the best books out there. What are you reading at the moment?
Me?
Yeah.
To be honest, just trying to learn another language.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn Sprachen Sie Deutsch.
Okay.
I probably said that wrong.
Right, so you're learning a bit of German?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah, no, it's based on how you utilize your memory. A lot of my memory goes into movement, so I have to learn a lot of movement and reading. Yes, I'd like to do a lot of reading, but my brain's usually tired by the time it comes to reading, because I'm physically tired from all that form of
the energy throughout the day. So what about reading first thing in the morning then? Do you get a chance? Because I know you're up quite early anyway.
To be honest, I know a lot of people don't do it. The first thing I do when I get up in the morning, I turn the telly on.
Really?
Yep, I want to know what's going on and what's been going on.
Okay.
So, for instance, right now at the moment, there's not much news. There is news, but about the Olympics.
Okay.
I don't recall hardly anything from the Olympics, but I have, I've been trying to just keep up to date with the news.
Okay.
Which
pretty much the same though, isn't it? Just
no, it's
COVID,
never
COVID,
the same.
COVID.
No, it's not COVID. No, it's not COVID. It's more or less it's all about the Olympics. And there was somebody from Belarus who went into an embassy because her country wanted her to come back.
Okay.
And not be in the Olympics, so she went for a sanctuary in one of the embassies in Tokyo. And Mr. Johnson has gone over there to talk to the Belarusian diplomat. So,
for what? So why was she sent back?
No, they told her to come back. I didn't actually recall that part.
Okay.
But it's all to do with control and this person's looking for sanctuary because they're scared to go back because this might happen or that's going to happen.
But did they not send her? Did she come of her own regard? What was the situation?
I'm not sure. I think she did. I think she did.
And Belarus, where's Belarus?
That's Europe.
Europe?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's around about Ukraine next to Russia, I think it is.
And are they in the Olympics?
The whole world's in the Olympics.
Okay, I'm just asking because Belarus, I've not really heard of it
but
before.
look, okay, when it comes to the Olympics, the whole world is in the Olympics.
Okay.
They might not be in every single sport that's going on. So they might not be in the golf or the tennis, but they'll be in something.
I noted that BMXing and skateboarding is in the Olympics now as well.
Tennis.
It's amazing.
Baseball.
Wow.
And the Americans got beaten by the Japanese.
Oh, wow.
Yesterday I saw that. Basketball, there's what else is there? There was something else. Yeah, golf.
Yeah.
How can golf be at Olympics?
It's a sport though, isn't it?
Yeah. So you might as well put everything in there.
And
then.
BMXing.
No, but BMXing has been in there for a while.
Okay, but there's some amazing cyclists when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. But going back to Margaret Busby, I was asking you the book that you're reading at the moment, and what are you reading out there, listeners? Let us know what's on your reading list at the moment, and what am I reading? Do you believe the lies that you tell yourself? I think that's one, and there's one
that's
down
really
there.
Interesting. I like that. I actually like that title.
Yeah, Opening Your Third Eye is another one that I'm reading. But again, like you said, when you're up, you're busy, you're doing things, sometimes it can be a bit hard to sit down, and the easiest way to relax is to turn the television on. But another great way to relax is to read a book. Mm-hmm. And this is what this lady, Margaret Busby, being a publicist and so forth. And what about writing a book? What about writing? Because write because you really enjoy and learn to be a good reader, because the best writers read vicariously, get to know the best books out there. So writing, I think there's a book in every single person.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Every single person.
Right, it's about, reading, writing, it's the same as, sorry to say, going to the gym.
Right, what's that?
It's not for everybody.
Okay, I hear you.
And when I mean it's not for everybody, it is for everybody.
Yeah.
You should be going to the gym, you should be reading and writing. Okay? But you have your certain people that don't want to read. They just can't be bothered to read. They ain't right for nothing other than little abbreviation texts. Like, for instance, you asked what that abbreviation
SMH, yes.
was.
Anyone told us what that is? SMH, please.
Right? So that's that. You know, the amount of times I've had conversations, I've spoken to people on the phone via text message, and I've had, do you know what? It's really great to talk to somebody that actually writes instead
Properly.
of abbreviates.
Yeah.
I don't abbreviate.
Yeah.
I don't put later as in L and 8R.
I love it. GR8, great.
No. I just know it's and then can you imagine when you're filling out an application and you don't know how to spell later?
Very true. But if you don't know how to spell later, that's a bit of an issue, right?
But a lot of people don't. They know how to spell L8R.
Yeah.
A lot of people know how to abbreviate a lot, but their spelling, they can't really spell.
It's quite funny because sometimes when I read, I think Leash had it on the Saturday as well, that a teacher came and said, spelling mistake, she's your, because they went your, Y-O-U-R, when it should be you-are, Y-O-U-R-E. Or I've seen lots of people say, I know, saying as if they know something, knowledge, but it's the right I-N-O, no, as opposed to I know, K-N-O-W.
Yeah.
So you do see a lot of those things kind of going on. But, I mean, that's small grammatical things that are going on there.
It's shortcuts don't get you nowhere.
Yeah, but I guess, I don't know if it's down to education as well, or if it's just being lazy.
It's being lazy. Because when you can say education, just through the knowledge, through what I know, through some of the experiences that I'm going through, whereas certain children, individuals don't want to go to school.
Yeah.
But they don't want to learn, they don't want to do certain things, but you put a phone in front of them, put the camera, they can come out of themselves in front of a camera, right, shaft themselves and make themselves out to be like this kind of person. But when it comes to actually doing good for yourself, they cannot do that. They don't want to do that. They want to hide away from living.
Yeah.
And they want to be in a different world. And you can't. There's only one world to be in.
Is that their way of escapism? I mean, we're talking about Margaret Busby, and she's a publisher, she's a writer. So escapism, that's writing is a way to escape, I guess, or it's a way to put down how we're feeling. And we never know that our stories can matter to someone else. Our stories might save someone else's life, and that's I guess that's why writing in that sense. But like you said, that the youngsters of this time, maybe some, because I know that there are others that are quite interested in writing down their stories. I remember doing there
is a lot. There's a lot of people.
Yeah. And if you are one of those people out there, listeners, please, I would encourage you to write your journey, however way you want to list it. And I know you said that even the youngsters, they like to do those abbreviations or write a book doing that, SMH. There's so much scope for so many things. And this is what Margaret Busby...
Shaking my head, Emma.
Shaking my head. Thank you so much, guys, because I really... I'm not up with all of the abbreviations, and there are a lot out there. So maybe we could do with an abbreviation book. What would you say, Decarlo?
Abbreviation book. There is abbreviation book.
There is one,
there
yeah?
Is.
Okay.
And some of these abbreviations have been added into the dictionary. Did you know that?
Wow. No, see, there you go. No, learn something
that's
new
why you
every
need
day.
to watch the news.
Yeah, amazing. That's why I need to watch the news.
No, it has a lot of like OMG is in the English dictionary now, and I think LOL and quite a few other abbreviations as part of grammar, English grammar.
Oh, wow.
So can you imagine the Queen getting OMG?
She probably does. You never know.
Yeah, I doubt it.
That's right, Chanel. Thank you. Maybe back in the day when we were younger, it was all right. But I mean, we're all grown now. Okay, so Chanel's saying that it was all right to do abbreviations when you were younger.
I think, okay, fair enough between you and your friends. But when you're actually dealing with, say, for instance, people more serious, you should refer. Like, for instance, I said to my daughter, I said, when you text me, please don't text me in abbreviations. Text me in full language. That way I can see that you are aware of what you're writing. And she goes, okay, Dad, I haven't received a text yet.
You should have been thankful for what you had already.
No, I just, for me, it is learning. It really, really is learning. Remember, what we do as young'uns, okay, we pass on. So, for instance, if I have my children at a young age and I'm still carrying on that way, they're gonna pick up everything that you do.
Yeah.
And what they do? What do they do?
Copy. They watch and
No,
observe.
they don't copy.
They watch, observe, and
They
do.
don't copy. What do they do?
Enhance what you've
They
done.
evolve. It is like the COVID, now the variant. They become a variant.
Yeah.
So texting now, all this texting is a variant of writing. So there's, it's getting...
We used to have conversations, right? We used to have a good old chat like we're having now. Good old chat. And and even going back to Busby, this lady, as regards to the writing, they wrote everything down those days. So, like I said, spoke about... But now things are very, very different. Very, very different.
Have you ever been text and been in the same room as somebody?
No. Oh, actually, sometimes I text John Ash when I'm downstairs.
I have been in the same room and been text, and I got vexed.
Wow.
Because I was like, why didn't you just ask me? How could you text me? It was just, for me, it's just like, if you can't talk to me, it's really important.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
as you're saying, Margaret Busby, writing is really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for yourself.
Yeah.
You said, I mean, when was the last time you received a postcard?
Oh, that doesn't happen these. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. I received a postcard 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It's from a company I've been working with.
And you received a birthday card written.
No,
it wasn't written.
Yeah,
it was typed.
yeah. I've had some lovely cards given, but yeah, I've received a postcard and treats. They sent me all these gifts in the post.
But was there writing or was it typed?
Written. It was written.
Okay,
It was lovely. She sent me some because I was having a meeting with her, and then little Madam was there watching a programme on the phone. And I said, I've got the little ones in the room. So I think she sent her some pencils, she sent me some tea, but it was lovely. It was really nice to receive a letter. And just saying, thank you for coming on board with the project I'm doing at the moment. And I felt really light after reading that, as opposed to, if I'm very fair, I get really inundated with lots of WhatsApps, DMs, and I personally can't manage. Sometimes I take screenshots to show, like, Leash, look at this. I can't manage with this first thing in the morning. So when talking about Margaret Busby, she was Britain's first black female publisher that revolutionised literature. And she never gave up as a black publisher. And at the end of the day, I know that I'm into publishing myself, and there's nothing better than writing things down and helping others to progress forwards. And that's the importance. That's why you see I'm surrounded by books. Mum's surrounded by books, because although technology is here, I don't think books will ever be a thing of the past.
Well, I don't write. I write, but I don't pencil write or pen write.
Yeah.
I type nearly every day.
That's brilliant. That's
every
really good.
day, I type my client a different program every day.
So what about having that as a book? Have you thought about that?
Well, that'd be a big page.
That's
big
great,
book.
but why not?
I had the amount of but that's not just my clients, it's for everything. Yeah, you're right.
I'll give you some ideas afterwards. We won't discuss them offline, but that's a lovely thing about publishing, is that it doesn't have to be the traditional way of publishing things. And like it said, Margaret Busby, she revolutionised it. She revolutionised literature. And because life is evolving, we do evolve with life, in the sense of, before we had typewriters, but we didn't have technology to a degree. So that's how we used to write, or pen and paper was initial, or graphite, or however we started.
Typewriters was the technology.
Right, you see? But how much have we moved on? It's like I can take my laptop, generally go up on the hill, tap into OneDrive, because Lily's always saying, Mum, stop using these USBs. Laptop, OneDrive, so it updates it as you're going along. You can do it on your phone these days. You can talk into your phone and then it will dictate it. We are so far ahead when it comes to being able to be involved in writing literature. Why should we not? I don't think there's any reason to not be able to, because we have everything in our favour in this day and age. So it is quite sad when the youngsters, all they can be bothered with is their form, what they look like, how big their boobs are, how big their lips are, you know, instead of utilising the knowledge that they have. But again, you've got to put it in there in the first place, isn't it? So Margaret Busby, she was a great writer, publisher. Check her out. She's from the UK and she's with New Daughters of Africa, follow-up to her first anthology of writing by women of African descent. She is from Ghana. And in her 20s, she set up her own company, publishing everyone from James Elroy to the Worst Witch series and changing Britain for the better, book by book.
She has 3 portraits of herself in the National Gallery as well.
Amazing.
So that's really, I mean, that's a good achievement.
Yeah,
a great achievement.
Yeah, and she's still alive today, Margaret Busby. So check her out, as obviously she is remarkable. And we can all learn about each other. That's what's so wonderful about history. We do have a history. We have a very, what's the word to use? We have a full history of great ancestors that have gone before us, people that are still alive today, that are making waves all the time. But if we look into their lives, we can probably emanate them as well. Like you said there, Decarlo, we become kind of who
we're around.
Yeah, who we are. Show me the first 5 people in your life, I'll show you who you are. And that's really, that is it in a nutshell. So at the end of the day, these are ones to really look up to because they're doing amazing things, great things, and we really want to follow in their footsteps, right?
Definitely.
Hey, so we'll see y'all in 5. Sounds of Candy Staton there. Young Hearts Run Free. One of my favourites. You like that one, don't you, Decarlo?
She sounds so much like Gladys Knight.
Yeah.
That's
There
what I
are
thought
some
it
similars.
was.
Really?
Yeah.
Candy Staton. I know some people that were backing her up, musicians. And it's so nice to be out there working again, isn't it? Like, or being around musicians, being around singers, being out there just generally, isn't it?
And that live scene, yeah. It's
yeah,
amazing.
it's a wonderful scene to be on. But we just want to give a shout out as well to a friend of ours, David Isaac George. He's very ill at the moment, and we really, all of our prayers go out to you, David, and we are thinking of you, and we just really wish you a speedy recovery.
Get strong.
All right, get strong.
Stay strong.
Love you very, very much, and we want you here with us, so please.
Stay strong, get stronger.
Yes, absolutely. So, a word for the day, Decarlo.
Berate.
Berate. All right.
Yeah. To scold or condemn vehemently.
Yes.
And at length.
Yeah. So that's having a go continually, like just really putting someone down, not being very nice. You know, just, yeah, berating someone. So you're rating them, but you're berating them, you're putting them down, rebuking them angrily and violently. And it's not a nice word, really, berate.
Berate and rate are more or less they're more or less the same word.
Yeah, but one in the positive, one in the negative, right?
No, it says berate and rate can both mean to rebuke angrily or violently. Okay,
because rate you can also say between 1 and 10, rating something, right?
As
but
in scale. Yeah, but remember that's with the English words, you know, we can always put them into the 3 different categories, like bad meaning bad and bad meaning good.
Very true.
So rate, we know rate as like, yeah, I rate you.
Exactly.
Or how much to pay.
Yes.
Or
that's the English language,
yes.
Polish and Polish. But rate is also to estimate the value of something, but to berate is to just put it down, like I said, violently, isn't it? Combining the B and the older rate. The prefix is the B.
But even that rate as well, like for instance, you rating them as a bad person.
Yeah.
So
English language is one of the hardest languages to learn.
Because there's so many different variations.
Like you're talking about German, speaking German, right? So
one word for everything.
One word for... Is that really true, though? Is there only one word for everything in German?
There's one, like for instance, they wouldn't have rate and berate. It would just be one word.
Really?
A lot of things, yeah.
Okay.
Like for instance, what can I say? I'm trying to think now.
On the spot.
On this, I can't even recall. I know there's like, for instance, there are certain words where you just only have that is that and that means that.
So what?
And it only sometimes to me, not to us. To
so
me,
can I give it? So
sense.
orange, for instance. You got an orange that's a fruit.
Yeah, and colour.
But you've got orange colour.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing, or are they two separate things?
They are two separate things, I think.
They're two separate things.
Yeah,
but
the orange
orange.
And orange colour.
Yeah. So would you say the colour different and then the fruit different? Or would it just be an orange? Orange. With the colour and the fruit. So, okay. So one word. But in the UK, again, we got the prefixes. So that B would be a prefix and suffixes and things like that. And the rate is the B comes before the rate, which changes the word completely.
Like bad out there. Like bad is bad.
Right.
It ain't good. It ain't nothing else. Bad is just bad.
But we could say, oh, that was bad, clicking your fingers how we used to, saying, oh, yeah, that's good, but it's not. Yeah. So bad is just outright bad. Yeah. And good is good. Oh, okay. So berate, how would we say that in a sentence? How would we say that? To estimate. Okay, we know that berate was probably formed by combining the prefix, like I said, be an older rate, but the origins of this particular rate itself are somewhat more obscure, so they don't even know where that kind of rate comes from. So normally there'd be Latin verb or something.
But how would you use it in conversation? You'd probably turn and say, you'd probably turn and talk to the person that was actually doing it. So why are you talking to that person like that? You're berating them. Or,
why did you berate me like that?
Yeah.
So put me down. Why did you scold me
you berated. It's like,
and condemn me?
Yeah.
So vehemently. So why did you berate that person?
Why have you berate me? Why did you berate me?
Yeah. So like we say, learn a new word every single day. Okay. And it really, again, going into what we were speaking about, the writing, and Margaret Busby, Margaret Busby, how she's a writer, how she's a publicist. And when we build our vocabulary, again, that makes it easier for us to build on writing a story, build on writing our memoirs, build on writing a biography. That really, really helps. All right, so berate is the name of the day. And as we've spoken of, the Black Women's Pay, that today's National Black Women's Equal Pay Day, as well as speaking on Margaret Busby, we did ask the question at the top of the show, should women be paid the same as men? But we also asked the question, if you ask someone to be a life partner after reasonable time, and they say no, should you continue in the relationship? What's your thought out there, listeners? What's your thought out there, listeners? Because we'd like to know what your thoughts are on that question. So if you've been with someone a long time and they ask you to be their life partner and they turn around and say no, what would you do in that situation? But before we tackle that, just want to give out an opportunity here. Now, someone sent me this opportunity in, and it's a Brits apprenticeship scheme. It's a Brits apprenticeship scheme, and to register to attend, it's a free virtual info session with employers and recruiters behind the Brits. So is it the Brit Awards? It might be the Brit Awards. Apprenticeship scheme on the 3rd of August 2021. Okay, at 2:30. Oh, so it says if an opportunity to learn that they're looking to see in the application, but the deadline is on the 16th of the 8th, 2021. Now I'm going to put a link into the chat room, So you can tap into that, and it's for young people.
It's just a scheme that gives 10 individuals a chance to learn about recording music, the recorded music industry, receive practical hands-on experience, develop relevant skills, and make key contacts. With roles available includes social media assistant, junior A&R assistant, marketing assistant, and licensing and publishing opportunities. The apprentices are paid 15 months full-time roles starting in November.
That's amazing, isn't it? I mean, we had little things when we were growing up, but there's
YTS.
Youth training scheme, guys. But they're called apprenticeships. That was a kind of apprenticeship then, wasn't it? But there's a lot of apprenticeships out there.
There is a lot, especially for under 30s. There's a lot of opportunities, but as due to the pandemic, it's just like, for instance, the snowball effect hasn't happened yet. So there's a lot of talk about opportunities, but to actually move into those positions is very hard.
Yeah, but there's 10 positions here, which is great, isn't it?
10 positions is not enough.
It's not enough.
It's a start.
Yeah. And possibly there'll be a lot of people applying. That's if they know about it. So it is good to share because our youngsters are always looking out. Just think of that A&R, junior A&R assistant.
It hasn't mentioned an age group about it, so that might even be out for a mature student. So if you feel that's something that you want to get into, or you know a little bit about but never had that opportunity, this might be an opportunity for you.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is 2016 or 2015, I applied for to become a dry liner and plasterer.
Right.
But the opportunity was apprenticeship, and the opportunity was only for people under 30. I went to the interview and spoke to the gentleman that was in charge of it, and he loved everything about me and said, "Carlo, that's what I want you to do. I want you to come on, you maybe help with the younger people." That's what I ended up doing. And then from that job, I ended up going into teaching in a prison, teaching people how to dry line.
Brilliant.
How do you do that in a year and a half?
And it's quite, in you saying that same lady that sent me the postcard, that was an opportunity. It was a voluntary position working with women. And because you follow through on the opportunity, it opens up so many doors as well for you. So do you know what? Take one step forward that could take you 10 steps even further. So if the opportunity is there, you learn from it. And like it says here, the roles available include social media assistant, junior A&R assistant, marketing and licensing and publishing opportunities. Those are amazing to even know. That's kind of helping you to understand how the music business works. And it is a Brits Apprenticeship Award. So it's obviously, you've missed meeting up with the employers today, because that scheme started today from the 3rd at 2:30. But I've put a link into the chat box to, if you know anyone, please share it with your friends and family that might be interested in the music business.
Because the deadline is on the 16th, so that's 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
So just under 2 weeks.
Yeah, okay. So, naturally, Lily says that she runs an apprenticeship as well. And they actually recruit 14. So they have 14 coming in, because I guess in classes as well, you've got to keep the numbers low. That's another thing. So it's kind of getting your application in, people seeing it, you're going through a recruitment process, and then either getting the job or not. But even just filling out an application form is an opportunity for you to fill out a form to get the feel of how to do it and sending it over to someone. So that's still a really, really good opportunity. And opportunity doesn't knock very often. So if it's there, take that opportunity. You never know where it's going to lead. So yeah, that is a Brit Award apprenticeships scheme, and the deadline is on the 16th of August 2021. I have put a link in the chat room, so come and join us in the chat room, and that's where you can get all of the information. We've posted up quite a few things tonight, and we're not done there because there's a new film out by 4Juice Films called Sticksman. Now I don't know if anyone's received this in their inboxes, WhatsApp, this 4Juice Films Sticksman. And it's showing a pivot moment in the life of Anthony and his friends in the times when African Caribbean communities were separated from white British ones. Yeah, do you remember those times? We were the only black people that lived on that estate, weren't we? Well, there was two black families, ours and the Kings.
That's what they did, is when the Windrush came in, they shoved them in different areas.
Yeah.
So yeah, to isolate. That's why London is the most diverse city in the world.
Yeah.
For races.
Immigration.
Yeah, it has over 127 different races, doesn't it?
Yeah, because even
for Haringey.
Yeah, Haringey's got a whole load.
127, if I recall.
But you don't see everybody. But do you notice it again? It's been gentrified.
But you do. If you go Wood Green, you see everybody. You see every time.
I don't go to Wood Green.
When you go down into Tottenham Hale, you do. So the busy spots you do.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, maybe just not looking out for it. You're just concentrating on where you have to go. That you're not looking for that. But I do note that even Tottenham High Road, even I don't go there often either. But it's becoming quite gentrified. The whole area. They're building up everywhere. It looks like Brooklyn now. You know, New York. With all the high rises, and there's a lot. It's a different demographic, shall we say, that frequents these areas. But then all the infrastructure's here, isn't it? You've got the Stansted Express. You've got quite a lot of close to the motorways, so it makes sense, right?
It's gonna be. It just literally this kind of dawned on me just a second. Okay, so the younger generation that's growing up now. And all these buildings are going to be that's being built. Those buildings are going to be here for the next 100 to 200 years.
Do you think so?
Yes, they are, because they're new builds. Oh, no, but the Grenfield's Grenfield, okay. But these new builds are going to be here for decades, and these
decades, I think,
the younger generation is going to grow up. No, trust me, they're going to be here for a while. Okay, now if we go back to when we were growing up, okay, there wasn't much building going on. And if we think about all the places that we used to live, the places that we lived, and how things are now, it's like, for instance, you can't recognise certain places when we go.
No, because they're built on them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The younger generation now, they're gonna be seeing that 20 years later.
That change,
40 years later, it's gonna still be the same.
Wow.
But it's new to us. It's gonna be old to them.
Beautiful people. If you have pictures, if you can go around and even take pictures of the landscape, I mean, it is changing rapidly. That's a great thing to do. Yeah. If you have pictures even of in the 70s, 60s, whatever. I
tell you what, there's people, you guys in Tottenham, I don't know if this is in every sorting station. Go into your post office sorting station. In Tottenham, Bruce Grove, the sorting station, if you go in there when you go to pick up your post, they have pictures of how Tottenham used to be in the 1917 and so on. So they have the trams. They have the old, because there used to be trams in Tottenham, which people probably not aware of. So go and check all those old-fashioned pictures. If you go up to Alexander Palace, you can see what the palace used to look like. I love pictures like that. I love that kind of work.
Bruce Castle Museum. It's a really great museum, you know.
And it has Tottenham Hotspurs when it first kind of started off as well.
Yeah.
Pictures of the old school players. Even I think Garth Crooks is even in there. So the first black guy to play for Tottenham.
Look around the area, because there are still signs on the walls. You can see in Bruce Grove, above the shop the turkey shop on the corner, there's actually a Bovril sign.
Okay.
There was a Bovril sign there. There's lots of little signs, old Victorian signs, still on the wall in your area. So do you know what? This is going to be the competition. What I'd like you to do is when you're out and about, look out for a sign that you were living in of something from the past, right? So in Tottenham, I've given you a clue there. Above there's a turkey shop on the corner of St. Lois Road. There's a Bovril sign up there. There's a few little signs around your areas which will show you just a blast from the past. If you can send us in a picture, first picture in will win the competition. That's winning a T-shirt. You can send that to 07895 134 713 or just email it to info or actually to Natasha John Baptiste at sweetmind.co.uk. All right, or just DM it to me on my Facebook, Natasha Wimbo John Baptiste. Okay, so the question at the top there, then, Decarlo, we were asking, we were going to go into the Four Juice film, weren't we? Mm-hmm. And there's a film that's come up, Sticksman. So that will be coming out very, very soon. It's about the Black Caribbean community, and the generation migrants were excluded from pubs, clubs, so on and so forth. I think Judith Jacobs I saw the trailer, Judith Jacobs is in it. So it says we used to gather at each other's houses. We used to have blues late night blues. Yeah. There you go, Laro, late night blues. Church was a very major part of the black community, as well as dances in the community hall and community dance centres. So this film, Sticksman, is all about how things used to be back in the day, old school. Back in the 70s. We were a bit young to be going out to blues dance and all that. But what did we used to do? We were quite small, weren't we, at that time? What we're speaking on.
Mum used to always have parties.
Yes, but house parties, we can put that. Joy McKay, we can put that down to. She had some great parties, always packed out. Yeah. And we had our birthday parties, didn't we? Because we're June babies, so we used to have one once a month or once a year.
All in one.
All of us together, and all of our friends would come and we'd all dress. And there's lots of pictures like that as well, isn't there? Of us at children's parties and all that. So that was a thing. We were a community, much more community then than we are now. Would you say that?
Yeah, I mean, compared to, like, for instance, remember when we used to go out and play, I mean, there'd be a group of, 10, 15 of us, and we'll go from Hackney Park, Hackney Road, Vicky Park. Up to Vicky Park. Yeah. You know, we'd climb trees. We'd go in the park and play. Yeah. You know, we'd go to Jeffrey Music. Well, we used to be the museum. Amount of times we went into Jeffrey Museum, and no matter how dry it was, we still went and visited it. Didn't we?
That's changing now. I think they're doing a big refurbishment on there. Maybe it's finished, maybe it's not.
But they've put that dome theatre kind of thing that they've done in Jeffrey Park. Okay. That's where we used to go and play. You remember?
Oh, wow. Yeah,
with the sandpit and
on the stage, always singing on the stage.
Rocking horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the swings.
So we were a community back then, and the youngsters used to look out for the older ones used to look out for the youngsters, and we all worked together. And if you didn't have a cup of sugar, you could go knock. Oh, auntie, have you got a cup of sugar? Till whenever. And sharing was caring. Yeah. You used to go next door to aunties and take the breakfast slice.
Keep it at the fridge.
You know, so it was a lovely community, and this is what that Sticksman film is all about. It's showing pivotal moments in the life of Anthony and his friends, and we could put it's a bit like Babylon. Okay. You know, the film Babylon. Burning an Illusion, yeah. It showed how people used to go out, dance, and so on and so forth. So check that out, Sticksman. It's by the Four Juice Film Company, and I think it would be a really, really good watch. So check that out. And it is British made as well. And we know a lot of things that come from Britain are, they're worth watching, a bit like the Small Axe, is it Steve McQueen series?
Okay.
And that.
Yeah, Small Axe, yes.
Yeah, check it out. And we'll see y'all in 5. Okay, that's the sounds of Stevie Wonder there. I was made to love her. So, we asked the question at the top of the show, if you ask someone to be a life partner after reasonable time and they say no, should you continue in the relationship? What are your thoughts, Decarlo?
For you to be in a situation where you're actually asking your partner to become a life partner, what does life partner mean? Is that, shall we get married?
Yeah.
Okay, but marriage is not for everybody.
Or just to stay with them maybe forever. But if you're going to stay with someone forever, then I guess that's the next step, right?
Yeah, to be honest, I know in many relationships, okay, that people have been together for, was it 20 years, 15 years, 20 years, had children, got married, then broke up. After getting married, they broke up. So marriage isn't really, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Really and truly isn't for everybody. I think most people that get married go through that little, I want, you have that, I want this, where some people genuinely want to marry that person. Do you understand? Because
do you think it's all about the white dress then for the woman? Is that it? Or is it?
I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot of women saying, well, it's my day. And it wasn't their day. It was, it's for both of you.
Yeah.
But a lot of women take that day as that is their day to shine.
Right.
When it's meant to be for both of you.
Yeah.
So all decisions is about you.
Well, the both of you together, isn't it?
About, the both of you. That's
so we're saying if you wanted someone as a life partner and they say no, then what would the next step be?
Well, if they say no, they don't want to get married, they're not saying that they don't want to be with you. They just don't want to go walk down the aisle.
So then it's your choice whether you stay or whether you don't, because someone might want more. Is it wanting more then to say, listen, I want you to be my life partner?
You don't need a piece of paper to commit to somebody. So changing your name, what are you actually doing? Are you want to be like everybody else, or that's like, you can put it into that category where my friend got married, or my mum and dad got married, or this person and that person got married, and that's what I want. So but
it's tradition.
Is it what is you want what everybody else wants, when you could be really happy in your relationship, everything that's good, you kiss, you cuddle, you laugh, you joke, and everything about your life is happy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I want to commit.
Okay, we've got a caller on line 1. Hi Lily, how you doing, darling?
Hi.
You all right?
Hello.
Yeah.
How are you? You well?
I'm not well, but yeah.
Oh, so what's your point? What's your thought on that question?
So I disagree. I think I'm not disagree. I think from what Decarlo was saying about that, it's just the wedding is just the woman's day. I don't agree with that. I don't think every woman sees marriage like that. But I also think that if you've been with someone for a long time and you ask that person to marry you and they say no, I don't necessarily think the relationship should end. I don't think that, I do agree that marriage doesn't work for everybody. It's not for everybody. Sometimes it is just signing a piece of paper for the sake of saying, oh yeah, we're married now, but you've technically been married for however long you've cohabited for, in my opinion. But I also think the person might say no because they want you to work on certain things before they do eventually say yes. It might be no, not right now, but let's work on ourselves. You work on you, I work on me, and then maybe in a year, 2 years, 3 years time, we could possibly get married. So it doesn't always just mean no, I don't want to marry you, because then if you want to get married, why would you be with the person in the first place?
That's a valid point, isn't it? Like, what is the purpose of being in a relationship
Yeah.
with somebody? Is it just to be to have something physical? Because maybe that's just what people want. Or is it to have companionship?
Well, lovebirds don't get married, but they live together for the rest of their lives.
They're birds,
Right, yeah.
Decarlo. They're birds.
But I think as well, like, you know, that you hear the statement a lot. Oh, you don't date not to get married. But I think that in today's world, dating doesn't necessarily mean, oh, we're gonna get married. You may be ideal partners together without that
Extra
so-called
commitment.
commitment of marriage.
Yeah.
Because I also don't think that marriage solidifies anything. I think people think, oh yeah, once I get married, he will stay with me or she'll stay with me, and then they can never leave. Well, actually, it's just a piece of paper that that doesn't stop someone from leaving the other person. If they're gonna leave, they're gonna leave. Marriage isn't gonna make a difference in that instance, in my opinion. Even though I'm married, but I just don't. I don't think it's the. I think two people stay together because they want to stay together. They work hard on a relationship because relationships are hard. You have struggles together. Yeah, some people might feel more forced to stay in a relationship if they're married, but I think if you really love that person, regardless of whether you're married or not, you'll try your hardest to stay together.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. Okay, I think I mentioned this on your show one time. What happened is this lady and this guy, obviously a lady and a guy, spent so many times, spent years, what I mean 50 to 60 years, but I think it was even longer. And the husband turned around and said, I will put a ring on your finger when Leicester win the FA Cup. When Leicester won the FA Cup. When they won the FA Cup
this year,
last year.
It
was this year, wasn't it?
This year, I think they won. Yeah.
Yeah. When Leicester won the FA Cup this year,
they got married.
The son bought the mum the ring because the dad had died.
Oh.
But that's what he said. Well, when Leicester, because he knew Leicester was never going to win it. But they did. Wrong, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. When I stated earlier about women, I'm saying I didn't say all women. I have experienced a lot of women that this is their day.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've had clients and I said, it's not your day. But yes, it's your day. It's both your days. Yeah. I've always had to state that. But she was more into it than the man.
Yeah.
And
sometimes the aesthetics.
And sometimes blinded.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Aesthetics. It's all everything that kind of the Western world.
They would rather spend 20,000 on one day and not work on the thousands of days thereafter than spend a couple thousand on a little small thing and establish a life together. I don't think that you know the wedding is one day. You feed people that you're never going to talk to again, and then you still got to go leave and become the two of you. Whereas and I do think a lot of women are like, oh yeah, I have to have the dress, I have to have this, I have to have that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, no, you don't have to have any of that stuff.
Exactly.
That's what you want, and if that's what you want, then fair enough.
And what you've seen, remember, it's not sometimes it's not always what you want, it's what you've seen and what you've seen others. So you want to match, you want to have that, you know, I want to fit into this dress, so let me come and do some training with you, or let me go and do this, let me, you know, let's go all out. It's like, for instance, aren't you happy with, you know, your man's marrying you for who you are? Aren't you just happy with that? No, it's got to be this, and I need to be a size 8.
Well, thanks for your call, Lily. We hope to have you back next week.
It's nice to actually have you calling this time, you know.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Great show, guys.
Thanks
for keeping my seat warm.
Yes, I am. And the whole room is warm.
Yes. All right. So that's take care, darling.
See you soon.
Bye.
Take care.
So it's very true. Maybe it's the fact of we've asked a question that the person said no though in this instance. But like you said, they've asked you to be a life partner. And it's, again, who was it that said it on Facebook? I'm just going to find, it was Dave Eitel that said that, let me just find his answer. he says if you require that form of commitment, then you should move on. Not everyone does though. So it's requiring a deeper form of commitment. But he said something prior to that.
Do you know, I know a lot of people that have got scared into getting married. And the reason being is because they'd like to marry the person.
Yeah.
But all that flashes in front of them is pound signs. It's going to cost this.
Okay.
We're going to get that. We're going to get this. So all this pressure falls on this person's shoulders, and they're thinking, how can? So a lot of people turn and say, no, I don't want that.
But you're talking from a man's point of view. What if it's a woman? What if it's a woman that says no? You're talking from a man's point of view. What if it is the woman that says no to the man?
Yeah. Well, a lot of the times when the woman says no to the man, a lot of men, a lot of men don't like to be rejected.
But is it rejection, or is it just at this moment in time,
but
I'm
that's
not
how
ready
some
for
people
that
might
commitment?
See that. Because if I don't really want to go into social media, but social media tends to show a lot of this happening, where they record it. Yeah, they record it and they show, someone say no.
I've seen that.
I've seen that, and a man take back him shoes and everything off the woman, just stripped her. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know.
That because her ex-partner was at the engagement or something, right? Was it her birthday? Or
that was another one. That was another one.
Take all the presents back. I was like, that's not fair.
This guy, he took her somewhere, and she said no, and he just took back took the shoes, he took all the gifts that he got for her.
So why then? Why would he do that? Because she said
rejection.
No, you just take everything back.
It's rejection. So it is hard. It's because think about it. In tradition, the man's meant to propose. That doesn't really happen as much nowadays. Everybody proposes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, I watched the video the other day. This man was chasing this guy all over the place because he had stolen his girlfriend's bag. So he's running after him, but it was his girlfriend had set it up. So the cameraman's running after the two of them, and this guy's running around cars and he's doing this and he's running, and you just see this video, and then he runs back to her. And then the boyfriend sees her and he's like, she's waiting and saying, will you marry me? And he's like, you've had me running up and down around the place and you were asking me to marry you. He said yes, but it was like, it was just the way that it was done.
The lengths that you will go to.
Yeah, that some people do. There are some really nice proposals, but I mean, like I said, and the same again, the one where the guy took everything back, he had got everything ready, had all the people waiting. It was this big surprise.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It could have been,
but
is it not an intimate thing then?
I was just about to say that. Shouldn't it be more intimate?
Yeah, like that is something very personal between you and your partner. You're saying that you want to be a life partner with somebody, and I guess you're second guessing or making the assumption that they're going to say, well, yeah, babes, I'll be with you forever. And then they turn and say, well, no, I'm not quite ready for that commitment. And that's why I flipped it and said, what if you were the man in the situation that asked and the woman said no? Or if you're the woman in that situation and the man said no, woman would more than likely stay, I think personally, because she might have hope that in the situation.
But is that big thing? Sometimes it's that big thing. I mean, I did it in church.
What's that, stayed in church?
No, I proposed in church.
Oh my.
I set it all up. It was a surprise. I come walk around. I started singing from the back of the aisle.
But you're someone that likes to do all that kind of stuff, do you?
Yeah, I went over OTT.
Yeah, that is a bit
OTT. Yeah, man. I don't even know if I still got the video for it.
Wow.
But I went OTT and it...
What did you do it because it felt right to do it in that moment, or were you caught in the moment, or you really genuinely said life partner?
If I be honest, there was a moment. So it's a moment. There was a moment in my life where I wanted to marry this person, but it was a moment, and sometimes that moment becomes a snowball effect. Okay, so it starts rolling down. But you can't stop it, and it carries on. And then you have to deal with everything else that it picks up. And that's for me, unfortunately, that's how it was. It was a snowball effect. I was there for that moment. I mean, there was some feeling, but for that moment, you're in when you were proposed to, think about it, you was in that.
I was in labour.
Well,
terrible, isn't it?
Like the first person I asked to marry me is when my son was being born. That was the first time I actually ever proposed, because I was emotional.
Again, in the moment.
I was emotional. Yeah, there was no singing, there was no crowd.
Yeah, but I must say that Kenny and I, we did celebrate our 27th anniversary last month.
Yeah, July.
As well as been together for 32 years, and was it in that sense that he was it a moment? I don't know, because he had to wait till the baby was born, and then when I got to come to my senses, I says, all right, you asked me a question the other day, and whatever. But then we committed to each other in that sense.
It's a different time.
Yeah.
Now it's like, for instance, is it about social media? What is it really about now? Because the proposals are different now compared to when you were asked to be married.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no social media.
But then it was a more traditional time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And there was no social media either.
Yeah, there was no social media.
Yeah.
So it's like, for instance, you come back and say, he asked me to marry me. You that's it. If the family, you let the people closest to you know.
Yeah.
Whereas now, people
know
your business before you do. Yeah. So it's that question is different for now.
Yeah.
I see it as different, and I don't want to put everyone in that stigma, as in, like, for instance, it's all a showcase. I think to a certain level, some people of tradition will do it traditionally, but a lot of other people will do it via the social media.
So maybe a question we'll ask next week is, are we losing our traditional values then? Because when it comes to those kind of things, and someone saying yes, or regardless of that question, them saying yes to that, is it still in a traditional way that we would get married or propose, like you said? Mm-hmm. Because times have definitely changed. We would agree with that 100%. Mm-hmm. So the funny thing is, we're going to look at the 10X rule. We'll be finished with the 10X rule soon. Yeah, and it speaks, be interested in the group. So it says you can do as well as the people around you. If everyone around you is sick, underperforming and struggling, then sooner or later you'll become afflicted, like everyone else. For example, pensions are strangling city and state governments because handfuls of people were interested in their own situations and did not consider the impact it would have on the group as a whole. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? It says this type of me-first thinking that has no regard for the group ultimately stifles the very group upon which an individual depends for survival. This self-serving approach later makes it almost impossible for the group to survive and puts even that which was promised at peril. That's quite interesting, isn't it? So maybe when it comes to things such as asking someone to be your life partner, it says we can't approach it sometimes with that me first. Like you said, someone might get offended of the rejection, but is it a rejection? Maybe at that time they're just not ready. Mm-hmm. So would you stay around and say, all right, no, you've said me no, that's it, door closed, that's it? Or will we not think of, well, there must be a reason behind the thinking of it all? And going back as well to our National Day, the history of the National Black Women's Equal Pay Day is not thinking of ourselves first, but thinking, do you know what, equal rights for everybody. How important is that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as well as opportunities, sharing opportunities if they come up, sharing them with other people. Mm-hmm. How important it is for that. So Decarlo, thank you so much for coming on the show.
I'm delighted, and thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure, a pleasure. And it has been, tomorrow will make it a year that we've been with All Flavors. So we're going to thank you so much, George Flavors, as well as all of the All Flavors crew, all of the DJs doing an amazing job on the station. Please feel to check the schedule. DJ Nigel's on a Saturday night, as well as you can catch all of the DJs on a Sunday. So I guess all we have left to do right now. So following me is DJ Laro. He's on from 8 till 10 tonight. And really give yourselves a big high five. Don't forget the competition. If you could take a picture in your local area and find some, even if it's a bust or something, of the history of your area, first person to get it into me, you will win an All Flavors exclusive t-shirt, black and gold. And yeah, I guess all we got left to say now, Decarlo, is we will see y'all on the other side. Take care.
Bye-bye, guys.